Frontiers of Pandora is an odd beast. In the lead up to the game's launch, I have never felt more certain about knowing exactly what we were going to get. Ubisoft was making an open world Avatar game that looked a heck of a lot like a Far Cry, and yes, that is pretty much what we got. The review cycle came through, some people pointed out where it improved on the formula, others couldn't look past the Ubisoft tropes. Everyone loved the dedication to the Pandora setting and said if you liked the franchise, it was worth checking out. Okay, that sounds good. As someone who does enjoy the Avatar movies and hasn't played a Ubisoft game in a long time, I was down to give it a go. And of course, being a co-op bro meant I was also excited to see how it played in co-op. Per usual, reviews didn't even attempt to cover that part of the game, so I had a lot of questions. Let me just tell you, if you walked into this review thinking you knew everything you needed to know to play Frontiers of Pandora in co-op because it seems straightforward, think again. We'll answer all of those questions and do our darndest to tell you if it's for you and your best friends, because it's both a very simple and yet very complicated answer.
Oh, dude, I'm getting the shot right now.
Oh, yeah, dude, this is awesome.
Oh, you know what's gotta happen here, bro. You know what's gotta happen here.
Nice.
Get electrocuted, suckers.
I killed one human there.
Bro, I love killing the humans inside the mechs. That's
I
sexy.
know. Oh, yeah, there we go, dude.
That's the cinematic shot, dude.
Yep, this is it.
This is the transition shot from intro into video.
Ease of play is going to be one of the more important talking points when it comes to Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. There's some good and also not so good aspects here, so bear with me as we cover all of it. First things first, I have to tackle what's become the sort of elephant in the room for us, which is that it takes upwards of 2 hours to unlock online co-op in the first place. Frontiers of Pandora wasn't explicitly built with co-op in mind, and I can understand why that first quest, which acts like a prologue, wouldn't work in co-op. But you can get through that in like 20 minutes, and locking co-op beyond that point did not make any sense to us. So just know going in that you'll both have to progress in the campaign and complete the Aranahe clan main story quest to unlock co-op. From there, you are able to easily invite each other using a drop-in, drop-out system. Once you're in a party, you're free to explore the open world completely untethered from each other and can even fast travel to each other, which is a great touch. Now, let's talk about the all-important topic of shared progression. When playing with a friend, we'd say 90% of your experience is shared. All quests you do together, character progression, and any gear you collect will transfer over when you return to your single-player session. The way the game handles this is that as long as you and your friend are progressing at the same pace in the campaign, when you get back to your single player session, the game will ask you if you would like to skip the completed quests you've done in the co-op session. If you join a player who is further in the campaign than you, then you won't be able to play those quests until you're at that point in the campaign yourself. Keep in mind that co-op works in that classic host/guest player framework. So the guest player is in the host world and will only see the host's map and what they have uncovered. For the most part, the guest player has a lot of player agency in the host world, but there are certain main quests where they can't interact with certain things and they need the host to move things along. Which brings us to what is not shared. Certain map activities like RDA bases will not carry over, and there are other side activities that you won't be able to do while you're in a co-op session. You also don't share drops from animals you hunt, and chests don't always reward the same item to both players. Two more tidbits here, you are able to trade gear in the game by dropping items for each other, and lastly, the game does support crossplay on all platforms and also cross saves. That about covers everything ease of play, so I'll hand the mic over back to Andrew to cover the gameplay loop of Frontiers of Pandora.
You mess with my land?
Air support is here, bro.
Oh my gosh, you just flew by me. That was awesome.
Again, talking about what Frontiers of Pandora is brings us back to how it compares to Far Cry with Ubisoft's open world tropes and how they've made that fit into the world of Avatar. You're a Na'vi that's been abducted by humans and forced to grow up away from your home. Eventually you escape, decide to take out the bad humans, the RDA, and become a resistance fighter. It doesn't stray too far from a typical Avatar plotline, but it did manage to surprise us with a couple moments here and there. Your way to help destroy the RDA is linked to your lost clan, the Sarentu, who were known for bringing the various tribes of the western frontier together. Now you must find these scattered tribes and bring them under the cause of the resistance. How do you do that? By destroying RDA bases and completing fetch quests, obviously. The gameplay in Avatar is a first-person shooter, so you use weapons from both the human and Na'vi world to take out your enemies. So the loop becomes a simple pattern of completing your main story missions, which culminate in fighting the RDA, and completing side quests for the tribes to increase your gear level on the side. Wait, what's your gear level, you may ask? Your overall power level in the game is almost entirely predicated on your gear, which you can either craft yourself or trade in clan favor for from vendors. Your gear level in main story missions will always be a little bit ahead of you, so you do need to take the time to engage with the system. It's an interesting change to how Ubisoft usually does things, and it had potential, but in the end it doesn't work out how we think it was intended to. More on that later. So that's the loop. You do main story missions, complete side activities in the open world to increase your gear level, rinse and repeat. Now at the top I talked about how it may seem simple from the outside looking in. Everything I just described sounds like the perfect personification of Ubisoft and Avatar making a game, but I did promise nuance, so let's get into it.
What's up, bro?
What's up, dude? Oh, dude, yeah, you can pull out your bow and everything on this. What? This is so sick.
Dang, dude, let's go.
This is awesome. All right, where we going?
Follow me, bro.
So there's a phrase that's often thrown around when talking about co-op games. This idea that maybe a not so good game is better with friends. I think sometimes people use that phrase and dismiss a game thinking, well, everything's better with friends, so that can mean much. I want to start by saying Frontiers of Pandora is a flawed title, as Andrew will point out in a bit. It is one of those games that's better with friends, but it also deserves a lot of credit because it does pull off something few co-op games can, giving us a freeing, untethered open world sandbox in co-op. It's easy to take for granted the fact that Andrew can easily jump into my game, we can hop on our ecrans, tackle a quest together, and not have to worry about doing it twice or what will or will not transfer back to his game. Not only that, but you're giving a lot of freedom to explore. Most of the time we would stick to the main quest, but it's easy to get distracted. We spend some sessions running side quests, hunting down Sarentu flowers, or even tracking down some crafting materials. And again, it's crazy that we could split up for those and that all that progress is shared. Beyond those slightly mundane activities, one of my favorite parts of playing Frontiers of Pandora together was experiencing some truly awe-inspiring moments together. Whether it was flying through the skies on our ecrans or racing through the forest, this game manages to do something really cool in that it finds the way to give you those extraordinary Breath of the Wild-like moments, but in co-op. One particular sequence had Andrew and I riding these cool dire horses as we ventured into a new section of the map. The scenery was amazing, the music started swelling, and it was like a 5-minute sequence we experienced in co-op. And it's not like having Andrew there detracted from the experience at all. Rather, it was really cool to share in that moment together. Outside of exploration, I do want to note some positive aspects of co-op as it pertains to combat and quests. For one, co-op makes quests a lot less monotonous than they are on your own. You can split up to tackle different objectives, which is really helpful. You can also plan your assault, at least to a degree. You can go in quietly, mark targets together, and snipe some guys from the shadows. Or, of course, you can go guns blazing, have one of you on the ground while the other provides air support on an ecran. That last bit is actually kinda cool, and I really did enjoy flying around raining down arrows as Andrew blew up mechs on the floor. While there isn't too much complexity to the RDA bases or quests overall, they're fun enough to do in co-op. So overall, Frontiers of Pandora definitely nails parts of the co-op experience, but also fumbles a lot of it, so let's talk about some of that.
So as you can see, Gabe and I had a lot of fun playing this together. Overall, it did skew positive. But here's where that nuance comes in. Ubisoft did so much wrong from a co-op perspective that it's kinda crazy we ended up enjoying this game. Let's talk about build diversity. There is none. There is absolutely no way to differentiate our playstyles. The main problem here is the skill tree. Hands down, this is one of the worst iterations of a skill tree I have ever seen. It does everything wrong. The skills are incredibly uninspiring, like 10% more damage or more ammo. Okay, but what about the final skill in each tree? Equally boring, like being able to self-revive once, or having the chance to briefly disorient your target when you hit them.
I mean, really, that's all you could think of? Now wait, there's also a secondary skill tree you unlock by finding these special Sonic flowers in the open world. I'm sure those are a little bit more interesting, right? Nope, we're talking the ability to decrease fall damage or see enemy walk patterns. Why wasn't that just like a thing automatically? Maybe the weapons and armor you craft will help. They have stat buffs that you can try and build around? Not really, just stats like plus 15% weak spot damage or plus 30% health regen. Kind of the same as the skill tree, honestly. Given the fact that you're playing as giant alien war machines, I think there was so much more they could have done with the system. Enemy diversity and mission variety are also just as mundane as you would expect in a Ubisoft game. You've got human enemies and mech enemies, all of which play exactly the same. We never really fought any beasts together, as the hunting part of the game doesn't work well in co-op. You do share gear and loot, just not from hunts, so it wasn't something we found ourselves engaging with. So missions are almost always just clearing out the base, solving a quick hacking puzzle, which was fun, and turning a pipe or something to make the base go boom. If you're coming into this having recently played a Ubisoft title, maybe take some time off. Again, Gabe and I enjoyed this because we're flying Ekrons, blowing stuff up, stealthing in and out of missions. There was a novelty there for us, but we also haven't played Far Cry in a while, so it was fresh enough to keep us entertained. Your mileage will definitely vary. It's one of those things where the negatives are so obvious and so easy for me to hit on that I feel like you might watch this and think, how the heck did these guys actually have fun in this game? I get that. But the important point is that we did. We just could have had a lot more fun if Ubisoft had come at this from a more cooperative perspective.
So now that you've heard both the good and the bad, where did we land on Avatar Frontiers of Pandora? Well, before I answer that question, there are some crucial aspects that don't totally pertain to co-op, but really impacted our final verdict on the game. First, I'd be remiss to not mention how insanely detailed this rendition of Pandora is. Massive entertainment deserves some major kudos on truly making this larger-than-life setting come to life, and it's easily one of the best-looking games either of us have ever played. Each biome has its own distinct identity, and thanks to the excellent traversal, it was a joy to simply inhabit this world. Not to mention how cool everything looks when nighttime comes, they definitely nailed that part of the Avatar fantasy. We came into this game with pretty low expectations, and another aspect that surprised us was the story. Sure, it's still filled with all the same tropes as the movies, even with its own paper-thin villain, but it does have a lot of heart, and it really comes together in the end with more depth than either of us expected. Lastly, I want to touch on the gear level system. Like Andrew mentioned, you either craft pieces or you do a bunch of side quests to get this currency called clan favor, which you can then use to purchase gear. On paper, it sounds cool and unique to the whole Avatar mythology, but in practice, it never really worked for us. Gathering materials can be really cumbersome. It's hard to track down the specific location of a given root or plant, and on one occasion, even after we finally found the spot, it was completely inaccessible due to a level 19 RDA base polluting the surrounding area. We found that when we were like level 10, so we were totally locked out of getting that material. The latter option of procuring clan favor is fine, but it does get grindy fairly quickly when you're just doing a bunch of lackluster side quests. Overall, this system was a letdown, and coupled with the terrible skill trees leaves this game without a satisfying progression system. With all that being said, we do feel Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is worth playing with your friends. If you're a diehard Avatar fan, you're definitely gonna get a lot out of this, as the setting and attention to detail are anything but phoned in. The co-op does elevate the game, especially given how rare it is to get an open world game that fairly seamlessly integrates co-op play. It does have its fair share of flaws, so ultimately we think this is a wait for a sale title. It won't blow your mind, but flying across Pandora together is an adventure worth taking.
Thanks as always for watching, guys. If we helped you decide if Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is for you and your friends, then please like the video, consider subscribing. This is what we do here at the Co-op Bros. We help you figure out what is the next great game that you can play with your friend. We got our monthly coming up at the end of this month, and so much more for the year 2024. We're really excited for this 5th year of the channel. If you notice my voice change a little bit from intro to the rest, it's because I'm on the tail end of COVID right now. You know, it happens, it's that time of year. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great day, and we'll catch you next time on the next episode of the Co-op Bros.
Ah, yes. The second Tears of the Kingdom moment. Oh, whoa, bro. Are you here?
No, I'm about to ruin.
Dang it, I've ruined the moment.
What happened?
As you came out, the horses like ran by. It was really cool.
Oh, that is really cool. Oh, the upper plains.
Oh, this is really sick, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
this
pumped
is awesome.
to get one of them horses. Come on now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Raise the signal kite.
Yeah, this is so sick. That's awesome. Oh, that tree is getting battered. Do you see this tree?
Yeah,
Just
no, my
absolutely
God.
Destroyed. Jesus.